So our little trip today, we're going to go to a church in Great Rissington. The church itself is nothing hugely spectacular, Norman in terms of age, but I have to say it holds a little secret which is reflective of the First World War, and it refers to a family called the Souls, S-O-U-L-S, and it really stresses the carnage of the First World War and the impact that had on society through a single family. So you will go down there. It's just off the A40. I've just come off the A40 now and I'm heading down into Burford, which is as congested as it always is. Very pretty, very popular with the tourists, and the roads can't really cope with it. But anyway, it's the gateway into the Cotswold, so you kind of have to suffer it to get where you want to get to. So I'll switch off now, and we'll pick up again when we get nearer to Great Rissington. So here we are coming into Great Rissington, another really lovely little Cotswold village. If we just turn off to the left here, if you look to the left is the the right is the Lamb Inn. If you're over this way, thoroughly recommend that for a pint and a bite to eat. Really good Cotswold pub. But Great Rissington, lovely little place, hit off the beaten track, typical stone buildings, stone walls, really rather pretty. But we're not here to look at this because in essence there are thousands of these little villages in the Cotswolds that you can just stumble across. We're here for the church and the story it's got to tell, and the church is just down this little lane here. So thank you very much indeed, very good. Everybody's so incredibly polite in the Cotswolds. It's very nice. Every time I go into a city, I'm almost expecting people to be polite and let me in, but they very rarely do. So here we are, the church. I'll just park up, and then I'll take you inside and tell you the good little story that Great Rissington's got to tell. So here we are at St John the Baptist Church in Great Rissington. Beautiful little 12th century Cotswold church, but like a number of churches around the country, this one, as well as being beautiful to look at, has got a story to tell as well. So let's just go inside. In an earlier video, I'd ridden across to Colne St Rogers to look at a church that was one of the thankful churches, those churches in the First World War that didn't lose a single one of their population to the First World War carnage. And I think that was a really good way to sort of express the destruction and devastation that the First World War delivered. And this church tells the same story, but from a much more personal and individual perspective. Truly remarkable story, so let's just go inside. So here we are inside Great Rissington Church, St John the Baptist, and like many churches around the country, this one will have a little memorial plaque for the people who lost their lives in the First World War and often the Second World War. When you first look at this, it doesn't seem that particularly different. However, as you run down the names of the people here, and there are not many names on the plaque, the first one is Albert Souls, and then you jump down to Fred Souls, Walter Souls, and then down the bottom you have Arthur Souls and Alfred Souls. And what you're looking at is 5 sons of the same family. They had 6 children, and in the First World War they lost 5 of their sons to the carnage that was the First World War. Quite an extraordinary story, and we'll just run through that and explain what happened. The story of the Souls brothers passing truly is a tragic tale. The first son that the family lost was the youngest Albert, who was killed in 1916. Then we had Walter, who was badly injured, made it back to a field hospital, but then succumbed to his injuries and passed away. And then within a few days of that, middle son Fred, he also passed away, but his body was never found. He went over the top and literally was obliterated, and is one of those unknown soldiers that is commemorated in the cenotaph and at various places in France. And then lastly, there was Albert and Arthur, who were identical twins, and they were born 5 minutes apart and died 5 days apart in 1918. So 5 sons, all from the same family, which I don't think anybody can actually envisage and imagine the horror of that for the family, leaving them one son left. And it's worth remembering that for each of her sons, Annie Souls, the family's mother, was given the grand sum of 1 shilling per son. So there you go, a tragic story, and one that serves to really highlight the futility and the destruction and the devastation that war can bring, in this case to one particular Cotswolds family. If you do visit this church, there's one other thing to look at, worth noting, and that is just around the corner, we'll just wander around in the moment, are 3 really good examples of Norman coffin lids. They're quite rare because of the age of them, but definitely worth a visit. So let's just go and have a quick look at those, and then we'll be on our way. And here they are, another little bit of English history set in the tranquility of a Cotswold churchyard. Anyway, on we go.